This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
What is truth? It is...
Truth. It doesn't exist, in my opinion.
It's up to interpretation.
It is... the truth.
It's a hard one to define.
Something very concrete.
I'd say it's a fact. It's just the way things go.
Truth is kind of this indefinable concept.
It's what the majority defines as acceptable.
Rooftop, this is Wretched Radio. That was a snippet from our brand new resource, Road Trip to Ambivalence. No, that's not it. Road Trip to Uncertainty. No, that's not right either. Road Trip to Truth. That's what it is called. It is available at wretched.org/roadtrip. Encourage you to get this resource, to have your Sunday school, your youth group, watch it so that they don't end up talking like this.
What is 4 times 4?
16.
I think it's 60. Is that true?
Problem is that math has one answer and emotions don't.
Yeah, it depends on what's asked. Like, if somebody asks you a math question, that does have a truth.
So there are some things that are ultimately...
solidified truth.
Yeah.
So do you think morality falls into that category?
No.
Oh.
Okay. So do you think that if a culture decides on something to be moral, that's okay for that culture, and it cannot be called immoral by us?
I mean, everybody's culture is different. What one person thinks is moral, I might think is immoral.
I know this is an extreme example, but Nazi Germany decided that certain people shouldn't be allowed to live. They black people, homosexuals, they shouldn't be allowed to live, okay?
Right.
Is that wrong? That's what
I
they
think
decided.
that's playing God.
Okay, but
Yeah,
they decided on that in their hearts and as a community, that was what was true and that's what it was right. Okay?
Right.
Are you going to sit here and tell them that they were wrong?
I mean, in the way that they went about it, yeah.
Yeah! Zoinks! Scoob! That is the outworking of the postmodern worldview, which is being force-fed to everybody, including you and me, by the way. We are all being told all truth is relative truth when we know that there is truth. Specifically, it was standing in front of Pontius Pilate who asked the question, what is truth? And we need, as Christians, to remember, truth is not out there. Truth is not enshrined in a document. Truth is embodied in the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. He's it. And that is why when we take people on a road trip to truth, we don't just want to point out the fallacies that they believe. We want to point them to the person who actually is truth. That is what this resource is intended to do. Teach your kids about Jesus and encourage them and equip them to defend the Christian worldview. And I got to tell you something. I think there's a benefit to this. A whole lot of kids can stop being confused, muddled, and lost with their feet firmly planted in midair, realizing, I know I should say Nazi Germany is wrong, but I've been told nobody's wrong. Wouldn't you be a little cloudy in your noggin if your worldview conflicted with reality like that?
In your experience, do people actually live consistently with that statement that all truth is relative?
No. This is Dr. Nathan Buznitz being interviewed by John Fabaras, the host of Road Trip to Truth.
In your experience, do people actually live consistently with that statement that all truth is relative?
No, I don't think people live consistently with it. They use it as an excuse, especially when it comes to moral norms, because they want to live the way they want to live. But when it comes to certain things like the laws of nature, facts of science, they might call them, they operate much more as those who believe that there actually are absolute truths, as opposed to those who would operate in a world in which everything's relative.
And that is exactly what you heard from those two young ladies. I believe that was at UGA, maybe it was Georgia Tech. The math and science, thumbs up. Morality, that's just up for grabs. That is our culture, that is our world, and that is why I would encourage you to consider getting our brand new, hot off the press resource, Road Trip to Truth, to show it to your youth group.
So in one of the classes I took in school, they talked about how truth is not universal, it's relative. When I talked to people on campus, a lot of them said, yeah, truth is relative. Does that sentence, truth is relative, even make sense?
Belief can be relative, but belief is not the same thing as truth. So just because I believe something, even if I believe it sincerely, that doesn't make it true. And a simple illustration, I think, will make this clear. I might believe, even sincerely, that I could fly like Superman. But that belief is going to be exposed as not being true. The moment that I jump out of an airplane without a parachute, I'm gonna smack into the reality of gravity. So the reality doesn't change just because my perspective changes or because my belief system changes. And so what we're looking for when we think about worldviews is, in order for a belief system to be valid, it has to correspond to reality, to the way things really are.
And we are asking kids to become detached from reality. What is observable? What is obvious? Is it any wonder that they're walking around kind of staggering through life and then ultimately leading themselves to the correct conclusion of the humanistic worldview, which is nihilism? Is it any wonder our kids are so lost?
So Nazi Germany, for example, do you think that they were wrong to kill 6 million Jews?
Yes.
Why?
I guess because I was bred to think that it's wrong to single out a minority and kill them off, but maybe in other cultures that would be looked at as normal.
So if you were raised there, it wouldn't have been wrong?
I probably wouldn't have thought it was wrong, no.
But would it have been wrong?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I was born and raised here in the U.S., where I was taught that that was wrong. I think that our morals are kind of guided by where we live and where we're raised and the cultures by which we're raised. And so if I was born and raised in Nazi Germany, where I was taught and indoctrinated at a young age that that was the right thing to do, I'd probably think that was the right thing to do.
You're saying there is a possibility that killing 6 million Jews was a good thing?
I'm going to say no based on my own morals and how I was raised. But I see where you're going. Like, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. The problem is, right, if we can't judge other cultures.
I'm being a hypocrite, yeah.
Right, a little bit. Sorry about that.
I see it.
It's more than hypocritical. It's downright inconsistent. So what do we do with the postmodern university student who can't say Nazi Germany is wrong? Well, we want to reason with them as best we can because their reason systems have crashed. We want to use logic as best we can with them. And by the way, we do in Road Trip to Truth.
Atheism, strictly defined, is an absolute truth claim that says there is no God. But there can be no atheist because no one has all knowledge of all events, for all places, in all times, to be able to make the definitive claim that there's absolutely, positively no God. That leaves us with theism, a general belief or acknowledgement that there is a deity. This worldview does not demand all knowledge, but just a little bit of logic and reason. Think of it like this. If you speed down a country road and there's no speed limit signs posted by an authority, if a farmer yells at you to slow down, you could just shout back, "That's just your preference." You can say that because without an objective lawgiver, the farmer can only prefer that you slow down. He can't insist that you're breaking a law or that you must slow down to pay a consequence. Let's reason backwards. Every culture for all time has agreed that some behaviors are universally wrong. People don't say, "I'd prefer that you don't kill that child." We know there are moral absolutes. Those morals are our signs that point to a moral lawgiver. If a moral lawgiver did not exist, there would be no moral absolutes. But we know that there are moral absolutes. Therefore, a moral lawgiver exists, and that raises a very important question. Who is that moral lawgiver?
That is using morality, what we observe and know to be so, to reason our way backwards to God. Without a lawgiver, there are no laws. There are no moral absolutes. There is merely preference. And we illustrate that and we poke a hole in the postmodern secular humanistic worldview, but we don't stop there. Because wouldn't it be sweet to finish it up with somebody who's very confused about morality and go, so there you have it. Clearly you're confused. There is a lawgiver. Gotta go. No, you fill up the hole with truth. And that is exactly what Road Trip to Truth does. And it does it, I don't mind telling you, respectfully, intelligently, and it's presented in a way that will keep a rather short attention span generation plugged in. It's hip. It's groovy. It's Road Trip to Truth, and I would like to encourage you to check it out a number of ways. Go to whatever your favorite media platform is, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and look for Road Trip to Truth. Sign up. Start forwarding these videos. Let's get these out into the social media world so that people can be confronted with their fallacious worldview and then shown the truth. We would love it if you would help us in that effort. Get it out there. It's just sitting there free. We've produced the content. Now we just need to get it out there. So if you would help us with that effort, that would be super groovy. Facebook, YouTube Machine, Instagram, look for Road Trip to Truth. Sign up, start forwarding the videos. Hey, what do you think of this? Hey, wow, this is kind of wild, isn't it? All of these videos are there for you to share with people. Please, this is a way for you to be evangelistic. And if you'd consider getting the DVD and study guide, you can do that at wretched.org/roadtrip. This is Wretched Radio. If you have been going bonkers regarding health insurance, right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. I am thrilled to commend to you MediShare, a community of Christians sharing each other's health care bills. 400,000 members strong, sharing over $4 billion in medical bills. That means a savings on average per family of $500 per month. Find out more by going to medishare.com/wretched.